Xbox announced its next major event. These are the details they did and did not announce. Everybody loves games. I mean, well, like most people love games. I shouldn't say everybody. That's a lot of people. But this week, Xbox is sort of hitting like a little bit of a drum beat. I've had a big drum and to be banging it up here because we've already seen Team Xbox have an event in Q1, and quite literally yesterday, depending on, I guess, when you're watching this, Xbox had its IGN Indie Showcase where they showed off a bunch of like smaller developer games, giving them a little bit of limelight that they so rightfully deserve. But hot on the heels of that event, which again was less than 24 hours ago, Xbox is dropping two announcements, one major and one minor, related to games that are going to be coming to Xbox. So let's kick it off here with the minor announcement, which it's the end of April. Yes, I know it's crazy to say that, and it's still crazy to say that, but April has come, April has gone, which means we're getting a new batch of games dropping into Xbox Game Pass. And for this month, there's going to be the first title, which I believe is available right now, is Have a Nice Death, which is just a fantastic title for literally anything in like the media world. Like, they make a good book, a nice movie, and obviously it makes a nice game sounding title. So you got Have a Nice Death available today on the various platforms. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition also coming on May 2nd. Kana 2 will be available on looks like May 7th. And then Little Kitty Big City, which is something my daughter might actually like to play, is going to be dropping on May 9th. And then Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons will be hitting the big screen, or hitting the big Game Pass here on May 14th. So, you know, a lot of games coming. Obviously, there will also be games leaving Game Pass, so you need to be aware if there's any title in there. But, you know, if you're paying for Game Pass, this is a sort of a nice monthly ritual, if you will, about things that will be coming and available to you. However, this is not the big news of the day. The big news of the day is really relating to what, early June is that E3 timeline, right? That's what happens in early June. That's what we all expect. Microsoft, the industry, everybody's talking games. And while E3 is not officially happening, I mean, E3, we all know what's happening to E3. We salute you, press F. We know what's going on there. However, Microsoft has announced that on June 9th, they will be having their games showcase. It's actually a back-to-back event like they did last year. However, on June 9th, Microsoft is going to be talking about video games, and it's just a great thing. So we're going to see, you know, they obviously haven't explicitly said what they're going to say, but we can take some logical guesses here. I think we'll see Avowed. I bet we see some Flight Sim. I bet we see some Indiana Jones updates. The big title that seems to be leaking out or floating around that is likely going to be announced is potentially a big Gears title. The next installment of the Gears franchise might be coming as well. And so look for all of that stuff to be happening in early June. Now, the other thing, if you were looking at the title here, is, hey, on the left side, you've got the Xbox Games Showcase, but on the right side, hey, Brad, what is that? Well, that they're doing another Direct event. Now, you might remember Direct from last year where they did Starfield. So whatever is in Direct, I think is, I don't want to say a cut above, but it's definitely like a big title. Now, somebody's thinking like, hey, that's probably going to be Gears of War. No, I'm almost absolutely 100% certain this is going to be Call of Duty. You got to remember, this is likely going to be the first time Call of Duty will be at the Xbox Game Showcase, I believe, since 2014. I believe Xbox Charlie was tweeting that out. I believe that is to be accurate. So basically a decade since they've been on stage. Reason being is that PlayStation had been paying for exclusivity and being at their event, but now that Microsoft owns Call of Duty, guess who's coming back to town? So it's going to get its own private event, and we know that because that three-headed dog is Cerberus. And it's actually from Black Ops, I believe Black Ops 3. I play a lot of Call of Duty. And so this is a Black Ops 3 logo, right? And also Cerberus was the leaked code name for the next version or next installment, if you will, of Call of Duty. So we're going to get a Black Ops. Supposedly, this is going to be a bit more of a modern title. Might be sort of in the Middle East. We will see sort of what goes on here. But hey, we're going to get a big Call of Duty focused event, which, you know, good for Microsoft, right? Call of Duty is such a massive title when you have not just Black Ops, but you also have Warzone. And now they also have Call of Duty Mobile going on. So it's rightfully deserving that there's going to be a big event. Also on stage at the event, we're likely going to potentially hear about Starfield's Shattered Space expansion. Remember, this was just talked about, I want to say yesterday or the day before. Todd Howard was doing an interview. He's like, yeah, we've got this big Shattered Space expansion. We'll talk. I think I might be misremembering, but I thought he said we're going to talk more about it this summer or like later this spring or maybe in June or something like that. And so like, hey, if Xbox is holding this big event here, obviously Starfield, which is just a huge title within the franchise, is going to be getting its first major expansion, which is supposed to have things like improved ship builders and a lot of other content. And so expect to see that here all at the event. And I think it's going to shape up to be a big one for Xbox, right? They've been lining all this stuff up for years and spending billions to get to this point. And so we should be seeing some big branded popular titles making their way to the stage now that Microsoft has closed that deal with Activision and now own the titles outright. But that's not all, my friends. Like, you might think, okay, Brad, that's a pretty good thing. Now, on the business side of Xbox, you got to remember, Sea of Thieves is also dropping on PlayStation 5 today. Like, that is now rolling out. And so you got to understand, this is a big deal for Microsoft. So not only are they getting like a hype wave on this June 9th event, they're getting some business wave, hopefully on the PlayStation side. And this is going to be very closely monitored. So far, like early, like pre-release indications were like, this is going to be a big deal for Xbox, but until we get the numbers, until Xbox starts sharing that information, which I guess technically they don't have to do, but if they get a lot of Sea of Thieves users, they're definitely going to try to promote that to get more people to download and more people to play and buy and all that stuff. And so you got to keep in mind that if this goes well, this will be the tip of the iceberg for what Microsoft does. I'm not expecting Halo to go over there, at least not yet. But remember, they're bringing 4 titles over, and so this is probably the biggest one to drop so far into that bucket of, hey, Xbox trying new things to generate revenue various ways. So when you put all that together, that's like a huge day. Like, that's just a big Tuesday for Xbox, right? And so I think it's worth pointing out that the Xbox team is trying to do marketing more consistently here. We've definitely seen the series of events. We've seen the series of announcements. Now, maybe in hindsight, they maybe should have done the Game Pass and this Xbox content drop like days apart. So maybe they've got another announcement. The other interesting thing too, as I think it through, is like, when are we going to learn about the digital Series X, right? We believe that's coming. There's that white version that has leaked. Is that going to be at this Xbox Game Showcase? In past, we've seen them try to separate some of the hardware from the games announcements, but the Xbox Series X with a digital only version isn't, I don't want to say it's not a major event, because hey, in any new console that's not a like limited edition sort of thing is a big deal. However, they might try to wait it out a little bit and not announce that something like that until August or closer to availability, just so they don't sort of limit sales potentially. But again, pricing will be super interesting here to see what they do. I guess in theory, they could announce and be like, hey, the digital version is going to be $449. I'm speculating here. For that time being, if it has a disc, we'll also discount it to that same price. That way they don't hurt themselves on the sales side of consoles, which were down quite a bit year over year. So not to end on a negative note, but that's just the reality of the situation. So as always, my friends, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.